What people don't realize is that Aladdin was really a triple threat. Virgin, us at Virgin, we were making the game. Disney, we had all the Disney animators and the Disney license, so they were, very well vested in the game. But then Sega, they loved it so much that they wanted to help distribute the game with us as well. So it was really like 3 huge powerhouses all working on one game.
We sort of built this cool team who really cared about animation, and we made a game called Cool Spot for 7-Up.
I was part of Dave Perry's team, and we were doing the Genesis SKUs of games at the time. So we had done Global Gladiators, and then we did Cool Spot, and then we started working on Jungle Book, which that was one of my favorite Disney movies of all time, so I was really excited to be doing that.
So if you're from Disney and you saw how lovingly we were making Jungle Book, I think that was a surprise to them. They probably looked at that and went, okay, these are the guys.
I was doing a bunch of Mowgli animation and monkeys, and we were just sort of getting into it. And then the Aladdin thing came in out of the blue. And so our team, Dave Perry and myself and our group, got pulled over to Aladdin.
They already had started Aladdin with another developer, but decided to give it to us.
Basically, my understanding was Disney came to Martin Alper, the president of Virgin, and says, hey, we've got this product, and the current developer is sort of failing. They brought us in, I think it was almost like 20 people maybe, when you include all the designers, and basically said, go, okay, what do we need to do?
You see how the world works, it's kind of strange. You can't quite just jump to say, well, we'll just do Aladdin. You have to sort of weave your way to it. You've got proof you can do cell animation in a video game. You've got artists that clearly can do very high quality Disney animation. And then music, our music was going to win awards again. We're on a roll at that point. Aladdin was just this flow of each game we did sort of gained more and more energy and attention on our team. We didn't have much time to do Aladdin. We did it in about 99 days. It was one of the fastest game developments ever.
We had to have it done and finished by the time Aladdin came out on video that Christmas, because they were going to put in a flyer, remember? They were going to put in a flyer in like 10 million Aladdin VHS tapes saying, and buy the video game. So we had this massive deadline.
We just pounded out a design document in a couple days. Everybody was really excited because we were getting to do a Disney Aladdin game.
It was great because everyone was united by desire to work with Disney, work with this company that's pushing new boundaries.
I mean, our goal really was to do justice to the movie, which was a huge hit at the time.
We were going to take hand-drawn animation, scan them in, and then color them in, tidy them up, so you could actually be playing an interactive cartoon.
They were doing hand-drawn pencil and paper animation that they had experimented with digitizing and getting into the computer and then playing on a Genesis. It was exactly the kind of thing Disney was looking for at the time.
They had this great engine and had yet to put a really big license to it. And so it was like the big license meeting the perfect engine at the right time, this little brief window.
Just the pipeline for the animation was a pretty major hurdle. I was shuttling back and forth between Irvine and Florida, where Disney was at the time. I was still pretty green, and they sent me down to Florida to try and teach these featured superstar animators how to do video game animation. And I was like, they should be teaching me how to do animation. We burned a lot of time in the beginning figuring out how to make it look the way it was supposed to look.
I think as an artist, you always look at your work with a critical eye and you're never totally happy with it.
There were a lot of people, especially at Virgin, that were losing confidence in our ability to pull it off. And so it wasn't until the stuff started coming in and looking good, and then started coming in fast enough that it was clear it was going to get done, that everybody kind of relaxed a little bit.
We'd all design games and been around games, so we just started adding our own ideas, and Dave would just incorporate them.
In the lamp level that you did, was that in the movie?
No, that wasn't. That was one that was totally not in the movie.
I mean, the parts. You recognize the parts in it, maybe from some of the more abstract moments in the movie.
Yeah, we got the graphics were from the movie, but the actual, Aladdin's actually inside the lamp kind of thing, and he's jumping around on the genie's body, which really I don't think there was anything like that. Disney just accepted it that's necessary to make changes to make some gameplay.
But it looked like it belonged totally.
It did, yes.
because you use lots of actual genie parts, right? You have
Yeah.
the flicking finger, you bounced
Yeah,
off.
and there was the big letters. I think at one point there was like big letters, like Roman numerals on columns. I think that was also.
So the
in
imagery
movie.
looked very familiar.
It was all from the game,
Yeah.
all from the
That's
movie. Yeah.
I always feel, I just wish we could have more time.
I like to fix the camera. Yeah, the camera's so jerky. Like, we didn't realize it at the time because Dave hadn't smoothed out to the camera's the engine yet. So now when I look back at Aladdin, you jump the cameras going like this.
We did more professional testing than we'd probably ever done. It meant that we were running these focus tests. We were watching through glass and watching kids play, and we would argue it's too easy or it's too hard, and then you would see the kids having a really, really hard time, and that settled all the arguments. Who cares what your opinion is? We're watching a bunch of kids suffer right now. I don't care if you think it's easy or not. These kids are suffering, please fix it. I had a special screen that I used for testing the game that we would use on the team. You type in a code and my face would appear.
Yeah.
And it was just what I used to sort of really, really hack the game and play and test and jump wherever I wanted. It turned out this actually really helped for my career because, you know, people start to recognize you from the game.
The code gets out.
Because people find our cheat codes, they find how we've been making the game.
Well, actually, I would leak them to the press, actually.
Because the game was moving so fast, everyone was excited every day by what they were seeing. It was feeling good, it was looking awesome, the animation was coming in.
I don't think we realized it at the time, but the fact that that group of people got along as well as they did under the amount of pressure that they were under and performed their jobs without killing each other is pretty amazing. It was actually a really, really good group of people. And I can tell you, the group of people that I worked with down in Florida, that's like one of the best groups of people I ever worked with.
For us, I think it was like a brotherhood. We were all passionate, we were all young people, none of us were really married or had kids, so it was our whole life, and we were so passionate about making the best stuff possible. And when you have 7, 8 people all like that in a room together, it's pretty amazing, pretty magical.
I think what's important on a team is that you respect the talent of the other people.
Totally.
Because what occurs when that happens, when an artist draws something and you're like, oh my God, it looks really good. It actually creates this, it's not just respect, but I don't know, somehow it makes you feel really good about the people you're with. And if anything, I would define it as you feel lucky to be there. You feel lucky that you're surrounded with this group of people, and then they look around and they feel the same thing. And I think ultimately you end up with this very tight team. Because of that, you know, everyone was just delivering. That really made this whole thing work well.
Just remember all the people. I think it's the people that really hit me, and just the craziness of. I still work in the video game industry now, and it's very sane. But back then, it was just the Wild West.
Everything was unusual, especially when they brought so many Brits over. They put us all in the same apartment complex.
Oh, that's right.
So it was like an oasis, right? And you just get pizza and everyone come over and eat. We do hang out at each other's places.
In terms of how well we got along, or how, you know, the quality of that team, we went on to do other projects together and stuck together. We definitely had a good...
Well, you and I, we've been working together ever since, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
For Virgin as a company, they became a much bigger company, and they had a lot more opportunities, a lot bigger opportunities after Aladdin, because they showed what they could do. You know, they got the Lion King game, and they got some other games, and they were able to bring in more people and more talented people and do bigger projects. And I think Aladdin opened the door for them.
After Aladdin, you could feel the company growing.
This was the very first time ever where somebody could legitimately play an interactive cartoon. It was hand-drawn art. It was an interactive cartoon.
Our goal really was to do justice to the movie, which was a huge hit at the time.
We could use everything that's good about the movie.
Yes.
There was no restrictions. Allow us to work directly with the movie studio rather than through a game publisher.
The biggest challenge was just being true to the art style and keeping everything on model and making sure that it was up to the standards that we all knew to be Disney standards.
Wow!
They hired Disney Feature Animation to do the hand-drawn animation.
Our team was incredibly excited about that, because to have a team full of animators that work with pencils, to have them work on a Disney project at this level was incredible. But what we didn't understand was they would actually give us access to the people who made Aladdin, the directors, the animators in Florida, for example. That changed everything. Our lead animator, Mike Dietz, ended up going to Florida and working with the Disney animators.
As an animator, getting to deal with Disney Feature Animation, getting to fly down there, work in the Disney animation studios with like some of the greatest animators on the planet and learn from them and just be around them. Like they set me up with like a desk in the Disney animation studio and I'm sitting there drawing and I'm going, what is going on here? It was like a dream come true.
Their stuff was great and it was really inspirational, and we learned a lot about color and how they used it.
Because a lot of times some of the images can be quite simple, but they work, they're balanced, they're doing things you're not really seeing, you know, but they're communicating to you, and they're just very, very talented. You can tell you're dealing with very, very talented artists, so it's nervous.
It was pretty unfair for the rest of the industry, right? It's like, you know, if you're an animator and we've got Disney feature animation on our team.
Well, so the way we worked was, because animation is so expensive and it's a multi-step process, the first thing you do in animation is you do a pencil test, which is just a rough drawing. And then normally if you're making a film, you would watch the pencil test of the film and go, oh, we want to make these changes to the animation and make these revisions and add this here and take this out here. And then when you're happy with it, then you do a cleaned up version of the drawing. And then you look at that, and then you ink it, and then you paint it and color it and finish it. That's a very expensive process, and you wouldn't want to go through that process on something that you're not sure is going to be in the game. So what we had developed a little bit on Jungle Book, but it really started on Aladdin, was to take those pencil test drawings that we were getting from Disney that were not finished, and we would digitize those and flood fill them white and then put them in as sprites in the game. And then we could test it. We could play test it, see what was working, see if the mechanic was working at all, but also see if the animation itself was working. And then when it was, only then we would move on to the final.
What we would do, we would take these, you know, images from Disney, and then I think I would just paint it without thinking too much about the tiles and breaking it down. So I'd paint the bigger shapes, and then after that I would try and figure out, now how do I make this into a tile set, and how do I make it efficient so we can actually fit it in the memory of the game.
And then once you got it to that, then you'd have to go in and clean it up, and then sometimes it was still kind of crunchy, and then there was a whole process of going in and touching up the stuff that wasn't looking real great. That was just a frame-by-frame manual process. That was really difficult because you had to have someone who had a sensitivity towards both animation and pixel art so that they could touch up what was there without like drawing over it and losing the sub-pixel movement. For me personally, the biggest challenge was educating the feature film animators who were used to animate at 24 frames per second and having as many frames as they needed to and like no restrictions. Teaching them what the restrictions were of animating for a video game and some of the techniques that we used to use to get around those limitations, and then try and like get their superpowers as amazing animators to execute these techniques that we had developed to get the best out of the limited resources we have and make the animation feel like it was Disney feature quality animation, even though it was far less frames and, you know, just crunchy resolutions. It was a process, and it was a process just figuring out what that pipeline was, and then once we knew what the pipeline was, like to actually just run all that animation through that was time-consuming and expensive.
What's so impressive is the fact that with the limited palette that was on the Genesis, we were still able, I felt, to sort of faithfully reproduce what the animated movie had, the colors and the look and the feel of the artwork. And then that came down to the fact that we did have really good source reference material from Disney. We had big printed out frames of the movie right the way through the movie, so we had a lot of reference, which was something quite unique. Up to that point, we didn't have a lot of reference for games.
When you looked at games back then, everything looked kind of angular. You know, platforms and girders and crates. And so people would have a tendency to draw in squares or along that line. And with Aladdin, seeing those backgrounds, I think we were the first to really break that. We created more large shapes of buildings. You couldn't see the tiles, it wasn't so obvious. We were really trying to capture the spirit. That was tricky, that was challenging. And sometimes it's funny, you go back and you see stuff, and I know even my kids will be looking at Aladdin and they go, "Did you do that, Dad? Did you do that?" And you can't remember.
I can't remember. No.
Like, that's how closely everyone managed to get their style. So I'd look at something and go, "Oh, yeah, I think I did that, but Steve could have done that, or Lynn could have done that."
Yeah,
I'm
that's
actually
what
not sure.
I think. Yeah,
I've got a memory that I could have done
yeah.
it.
I remember certain things I did, but I don't remember everything.
Back then, it was like, what? How are they doing this? The animation was the smoothest the industry had ever seen.
You knew, hey, this is a very special game we're working on.
And the amazing thing is, if you put in Aladdin today and you play it, it holds up. Now, how many video games 25 years later can you say graphically can hold up and you can still find it interesting graphically? And that's why I knew it was going to be a big hit, because it looked like nothing. I couldn't wait for people to see this. Sometimes you just know.
Ladies and gentlemen, the producer of Beauty and the Beast and Disney's latest animated feature, Lion King, Don Hahn.
Good morning. It is a pleasure to be here with you today to celebrate the Lion King. You know, there's a wonderful saying about animation and about animators that great animators don't just move drawings, they move people. And I think you can see why we're excited about the Lion King and about the potential of animation to stir the soul and to actually move people. We're in the middle of a wonderful renaissance of animation right now. Films like Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin have kind of redefined animation for a generation. And our audience really has rediscovered animation as well. If you remember when Snow White was released in 1937, the audience accepted Snow White as though it were a mainstream film. And I think what you're seeing now is people going back to the theater to enjoy animation, not just to drop their kids off, but to enjoy it as a family. It's for the kid in all of us. Well, Lion King is a departure for us in many ways, and I suppose one of the biggest departures is it's an original story. It's about growing up. It's about coming of age. It's about that day in all of our lives when we have to grow up. Unfortunately, for most of us in animation, we haven't really reached that day yet, so it's all kind of conjecture on our part. Even though it's an original story, it's based on many things. You'll notice resonance of Hamlet, the tortured character dealing with the death of his father. A little bit of Old Testament Bible story thrown in, Moses or Joseph, about the noble young prince who has to grow up in exile and return to conquer his kingdom. A little bit of King Arthur thrown in, kind of Moses, Joseph, Hamlet, King Arthur, meet Elton John in Africa. Our story starts with Simba, our hero of our hero's journey. He learns all about the wisdom of being king, about the nobility of being king from his father, King Mufasa. But Simba has an evil uncle named Scar who wants to be king too, and Scar plots to kill Mufasa and Simba so that he can be king. And he does in a terrible stampede. King Mufasa is killed and Simba's driven off, left for dead, far away from home, lost and alone in the inhospitable wastes, where he's rescued by an unlikely pair of a flatulent warthog named Pumbaa and a fast-talking meerkat named Timon. Meerkats, if you remember, are kind of the prairie dogs of Africa, known for their uncanny ability to perform elaborate musical numbers on the Serengeti. So Simba grows up in exile, far from his family, and as an adult, he's tortured somehow about the loss of his father and about him dropping out of life, until one day his father's spirit appears to him and says, Simba, you must take your place in the circle of life. You must remember who you are. And so he gets the message and returns to his family, returns to his home, and takes his place as the Lion King. These films in themselves are kind of heroes' journeys in the making of these films. It took about 600 artists spread out over 4 years' time on 3 continents. We have a studio in Los Angeles, in Florida, of course. We recorded music and dialogue in New York and London. And for the first time, we went to South Africa and recorded extensive portions of our soundtrack in Africa. When you see the film, you're seeing about 120,000 frames of film that have been labored over to create The Lion King. It represented a challenge in another way for us, too, because for the first time, we had to deal with a story that was complete allegory. There's no humans whatsoever in Lion King. Even Bambi had kind of man in the forest. So for us, it was a real challenge. One of the animators came up to me one day and said, well, how do you expect us to do this? Because all of our characters are naked with no opposable thumbs. I don't understand how we're going to make it. But we brought in lions. We had Jim Fowler, who you remember from Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, came in and brought lions into the studio. And we sent animators to Africa to be inspired by the landscape and the culture. And the result, I think, is a sense of power and nobility, not only of lions, but of Africa and of kind of a sense of place and being of this primal, wonderful place to tell the story of the Lion King. Lion King also represented a possibility to bring together a rather diverse, spectacular cast of voice actors. You haven't lived until you've been in a recording studio with Jeremy Irons, Whoopi Goldberg, and Cheech Marin performing a scene together. It's quite extraordinary. It's also a film of innovation. Each of these films, and we do stand on the shoulders of our previous films, but Lion King in particular represents tremendous effort by our computer graphics artists. For the first time, a generation of animators can come to work, and some pick up a pencil in the morning, some pick up a paintbrush, and others pick up a mouse and a keyboard and express themselves with a computer. Musically, The Lion King was a departure for us too, working for the first time with singer, songwriter, rock star Elton John and Academy Award-winning lyricist Tim Rice. And the score is something we're particularly proud of. Hans Zimmer, whose work you know from films like Backdraft and Thelma and Louise and Driving Miss Daisy and Rain Man, crafted a beautiful African score to complement the storytelling of the film. So as you can see, it's not just about making drawings move, but it really is about moving people and stirring the spirit. And today's a really important day for us because as we speak, and in the next few hours, The Lion King unfolds in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of theaters across America, and people for the first time across North America will get an opportunity to go see this film that's been 4 years in the making. There's a character I haven't really talked about in The Lion King, and he is a mentor. We all have mentors and characters, people in our lives who show us our way and our place in the circle of life. And in The Lion King, Simba's mentor is a wise, old, mystic shaman baboon named Rafiki, and he's here today. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Rafiki.
Asante sana squash banana, wewe nugu mimi hapana. Asante sana squash banana, wewe nugu mimi hapana. Oh, hello there, everyone. And welcome to the Pride Lands, home of the Lion King. I am Rafiki, which means friend in Swahili. Now, friends, I know why you're all here today, but do you? To eat the free food? I was right. You don't even know why you're here, but old Rafiki knows. You repeat after him. Asante sana. Ooh, that wasn't too impressive, was it? Let's try again. Asante sana. Much better. Asante sana. Squash banana. I look like a big iguana. I thought you were all looking a little green around the gills. Squashed banana for breakfast. Oh, can't go yet. There's something new to show you. Shh, shh, it's a secret.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the man who just can't wait for us all to play the video game, Jeffrey Katzenberg, the chairman of the Walt Disney Studios.
Good morning, Rafiki. This is little Simba. He's 6 weeks old and very frisky. Yeah, say good morning. There we go. As Walt Disney said, it all started with a mouse, and I think maybe this one started with a little guy like this, a wonderful little lion cub. When we first saw one of these animals, we were struck by their beauty, their majesty, their nobility. And we were excited about the idea of telling a story about a lion's journey from a cub like this to adulthood. And so began our journey to tell that story. Hi, Simba. Can't imagine how much pressure that is. The story we came up with isn't just about lions, though. It's about that defining moment everyone must face in their lives, the moment when we cross the bridge from childhood to adulthood and go on to assume responsibility for who we are. 4 years and over 1 million drawings later, we have The Lion King. For 1 week, the film has been playing to packed theaters in New York and Los Angeles, and from all reports, audiences are coming away enthusiastic about many things in the film. The animation, the characters, the humor, the music, and the magnificent African setting. All of these elements combine to tell Simba's story in the movie. And we're using all of these elements to tell his story in the game.
Well, it's about time. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and wondering when you'd get here. Don't like tardiness. If you're tardy, Mr.
God.
Hey, why are you here anyway?
I knew I should have left the skydiving to Richard Branson. God.
Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Alper, the president and CEO of Virgin Interactive Entertainment.
Thank you.
And I just want to say that under Martin's leadership, Virgin has been a phenomenal partner in working together with us to develop the Lion King game. So Martin, please give us, all an idea of what we've got coming for them, for what we've got coming for the people this coming fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Morning. Thank you all for giving up your precious time, power breakfasts, and beauty sleep to join us in our proud pride. This time last year, I stood on a similar Chicago podium with Jeffrey to launch Aladdin, the Sega Genesis video game. Now we have returned, this time with our new friend, Simba the Lion Cub. Now I know exactly what Disney meant by the clause in your contract. We are here today to preview the results of a second collaboration between Disney and Virgin, the results of which is a video game that will take us all to a significantly higher level. Lion King. In an increasingly violent and disillusioned world, the fundamental values and acute narrative that run through this stunning animated motion picture speak loudly to its audience. And from this powerful and emotive cinematic adventure, Virgin and Disney have been able to distill the essence of the movie into an extraordinary gaming experience. In bringing this video game to fruition, the smooth and seamless integration of Disney's feature animation group, Disney Software, and Virgin Interactive Entertainment presented a formidable challenge. This task was made all the easier by one common goal: excellence. And whilst this isn't the Academy Awards ceremony, I would still like to acknowledge two key people without whose commitment and skills this project would not have reached the heights it has. Mark Terham from Disney Software and Lewis Castle from Virgin Westwood Studios. Thank you both very much. The Lion King is positioned to become the must-have game for Christmas on both Sega and Nintendo platforms. Now, to make sure that everybody gets this message, Virgin is committed to an $8 million worldwide marketing and promotional budget covering the final quarter of this year. The majority of this spend will be on a TV commercial campaign, but also look for highly innovative print and promotional components. In Europe, the games will be launched simultaneously with the theatrical release of the movie. Now, Paris, Hamburg, and London offices will provide an unprecedented level of marketing support to back our European retailers. On the same day, the North American rollout will take place with equal razzmatazz. Just as the game sets a new standard in innovation, our marketing efforts will sound as loudly as the drums of Africa, and the message they will carry will be as clear: the Lion King has arrived. Thank you very much.
Wow, they are really great. Quiet, subtle, all before 9 o'clock in the morning. Now, as I was saying, the Lion King game may be a different form of entertainment than the movie, but in its heart, it's still the same animal. The story, the animation, the characters, the music, the humor, and the exotic setting will all be there. But this time, the audience will get to take part. This is how the Aladdin game was created, The elements that made the movie unique were also designed into the game. The result was a game that was the sales champ last Christmas and is now projected to sell over 3.5 million units worldwide. Part of this success was due to the quality of the game, but a very large part of it was also due to the incredible support many of you in this room threw behind Aladdin last year, and we thank you for that. If the Aladdin game was good, we want the Lion King game to be great. As with the film, the game will begin in the colorful and carefree world of young Simba, who frolics among his friends in the animal kingdom. Then in each successive level, Simba will acquire new skills and knowledge as the overall tone of the game becomes more serious. He must escape the hyenas in the elephant graveyard and avoid being trampled by wildebeests, who, as in the film, are seen charging not across the screen, but directly at us. Halfway through the game, the Simba sprite will actually transform from a cub to a full-grown lion. People have been amazed at how cat-like Simba is in the film. He isn't some anthropomorphic cartoon. He is a lion. The same will be true of the Simba sprite. It is a realistic, four-legged character, a cat who can pounce, leap, slash, snarl, and roar. The sprite will be the centerpiece of an unprecedented diversity of gameplay. The adventure begins in an action platform style of game. It then evolves level by level, ultimately becoming a proscenium-based battle-type game. As in the movie, Simba returns to the Pride Lands for a climactic one-on-one confrontation with Scar. In order to be victorious, players will have to learn how to move and behave like a lion, not a human. This will be a unique challenge that should be fresh and appealing to even the most experienced game players. To help tell the story, the Lion King game will feature 50% more animation and 50% more backgrounds than were in the Aladdin game. Over 2,000 original cells are being created expressly for the game. And a new rendering process is being used, which gives the characters a three-dimensional quality that makes them come to life in the interactive environment. Comedy and music will be a major element in the game, just as they were in the film. That comic relief will be performed by that wild vaudeville team, Pumbaa and Timon. During the bonus rounds, players will get to join this duo in gathering up and snacking on some delectable bugs. And in what may be a video first, the composer of the film's score, Hans Zimmer, has agreed to reorchestrate the score and compose additional music specifically for the game. This is one video game where the players won't just see the difference, they'll hear the difference.
Oh well, time is up. Must be going. Asante sana swash banana we nu mimi upon asante sana swash banana
You wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you.
Rafiki, you've just helped to introduce the new Lion King game to the people here at CES. What are you going to do now?
What? I'm going to Pride the Rock. Where are you going? Kind of question is that? Where else would I be going? You see, you, me, everybody, we're all part of the great circle of life that must be kept in balance so we all can survive. And whose responsibility is it to say that the circle of life stays in balance? Yours, and yours, and even yours. It's everybody's responsibility, no matter what you are born to be. Now me, I'm a baboon, but I'm not too sure about the rest of you. Are you?
From the day we arrive on the planet and blinking step into the sun, there's more to see than can ever be seen, more to do than can ever be done. There's far too much to take in here, more to find than can never be found. But the sun rolling high through the sapphire sky keeps great and small on the endless round. It's the circle of life.